Hello everyone, welcome to this video. My name is Muhammad and today we are going to use different services and tools in order to visualize metrics for our EC2 instances. So let's start. First things first, let's launch an EC2 instance. Okay, I'm going to call it server log version number 3. I'm going to keep every option the way it is by default. The only thing is that I'm going to proceed without any keepers since I will be connecting to the instance from the UI itself. And then the only thing that I want to mention here is this option, detailed CloudWatch monitoring. So as we know, when we create an instance, it will send all of its metrics to the CloudWatch service every 5 minutes. But with enabling this option, we can reduce that time to 1 minute, which gives us more accurate metrics, and also it makes this video a bit shorter. So I'm going to keep it enabled, but remember, since it has additional charges apply. So okay, it's all okay, and let's launch the instance. Perfect. So we have the instance here. It's in the pending state. Let me just check everything. We are in EU West 3C. It has the public IPv4. We have the monitoring enabled. Perfect. And we have the security group, which allows us to connect to the instance. Okay. And now it's running. Perfect. So let me now connect to the instance, but before that let me open this here. Okay, let's connect and let me go to CloudWatch. So CloudWatch is basically the main service of the AWS that gives us information about all the different logs and metrics. So when we go to the CloudWatch, first we have to be sure that we are in the same region. I'm in Europe, Paris, US West. And it's, as I said, it's the same region that we deployed the instance. Here we go to all metrics, and here we have to choose which metric we want to have a look at, which service, EC2 instance, per instance, and perfect. We have all the metrics ready for us. That's really fast, because usually you have to wait at least 4 or 5 minutes. And it's perfect. Okay, so as we can see, we have the server running here. Okay, and then we also have all the metrics regarding that instance here ready for us. So for now I'm going to just have a look at the CPU utilization. Okay, so I will choose it, and then from here we have the graphed metrics. And now we can see the changes for the CPU utilization based on the percentage, right? So now let's do something. Let's apply some stress to this instance, meaning we want to use all of its cores, all of its CPU resources, and then see the changes in the CloudWatch. To do so, first we have to install the stress. So I will get the command from here, sudo yum install stress -y. Okay, let's just, while we are waiting for it to be installed, go back here. Okay, and now let's apply some stress. Let me go back here. Okay, and we can use this command, right? We're going to use the CPU, and we have to declare for how long. We can go with 60 seconds, 1 minute. Let's go. Okay, it's working. Let's come back here. Every 30 seconds. And we have the CPU utilization graphed as percentage here. So now all we need to do is take a bit of time and see how they will change. Now while we're waiting for this graph to change, for sure going through every metric one by one and observing them this way, it's a bit manual, right? It would be a better option to use dashboards. So while we're waiting for the stress to be done, we're going to create a dashboard. So I'm going to create a dashboard. I'm going to call it server log version 3 CPU utilization. Okay. And then we have to choose the metrics. So I want to see the line of the changes for the EC2 instance, per instance metric, and then the CPU utilization. Perfect. Okay. Let's go back here. Let's see what happened in the metrics graph. So as we can see, we have the change for the CPU utilization for every minute, right? 15, 57, 58, 59, and then for sure it will also go higher. Let's come back here. Let's see what happened with this. Notice available and dashboard time range. Seconds, okay, average and update. Perfect. Now we can see it much easier. So let's review what we said. So for each EC2 instance, there are metrics that are sent to the CloudWatch. And then let me just see these metrics dedicated to our instance. And here are the metrics, right? We can see that they are mainly related to either the network, the CPU, and the storage. Now, if we need also have more detailed metrics, we can use something called the CloudWatch agent, but we have to install that agent on the EC2 instance, which is not the main purpose of this video. So for now, what did we explore? We saw that we can launch an instance, have all of its metrics, and sort them based on the instance ID. You can choose this plus button here or even by the name. We have metrics dedicated to the storage, CPU, and network. And then we can also create very useful dashboards. Okay, let me just try something else. Let's do it like this. Let's have the number of EC2 instance per instance. Okay, server log version 3. And then let's look at the network out. Okay. So what does it mean? It means that we can have a look at the CPU utilization and the network for the same instance all side by side of each other, which is very useful in our case. So let's change it. Let's ping a server outside of our instance. And then again, we have the period of 5 minutes, right? Because it's the default. But since we have enabled the option on our instance to send its metrics every 1 minute, we can just simply get the results much faster. Perfect. So for sure it comes with a cost. It costs a bit more when you enable the detailed monitoring, but we can have the responses much faster. And then again, don't forget to save the dashboard, because by default AWS doesn't let you to save them automatically. And perfect, so we have the results here, we have the ping going, we have the dashboards, and then we can also add something called an alarm. Okay, so here we can create an alarm. Let's say we want to be notified when a specific resource is being used too much. So we're going to create the alarm. We have to select a metric. For now, I'm going to with the EC2 instance, per instance metrics. And then let's go with the CPU utilization, select a metric. And then we have to choose how often. So let's go with the average, with the period of every 1 minute, the way that the metrics are sent to the CloudWatch. Okay. And then I want to be alarmed whenever the value for the CPU utilization, which is in percentage, is greater or equal than 40, just to have a try with it. So okay, and then we go with the next. Here we can configure the actions. We can decide what can be done after the alarm. So for example, here I can, in the EC2 action, I can stop the instance, right? Or we can like have a lambda function, change the configuration, or have auto scaling groups, scale in or scale out. So it gives us a lot of options. Okay, and just to like show you everything here, let me just finish with also with the SNS. So let's say the metrics have passed that threshold and we want to be notified. So we have to create a new topic. I'm going to call it CPU utilization for server log version 3. And then here I have to declare also an email, but I'm going to use a fake one because it's much easier. So let me bring this website, which gives us a temporary email address. Okay, tempmail.org. We need to wait. Okay, let me copy this. Now, this is the old one, right? It's not related to this course. I used this before, so just forget about this. And let me paste this email here and then create a topic. Perfect. So now we are also being notified whenever the threshold is passed. Okay, and then we're going to also stop this instance and the name CPU utilization version 3. Perfect. So now we have the graph also for this alarm. We can see that we set the alarm to 40% of the CPU utilization and it will be alarmed in the next event. Create the alarm. Perfect. Now, since we made an SNS subscription, we have to accept that subscription here. So with whatever mail that you put for the subscription, you will receive an email which will ask you to confirm. Okay, this is the new one. Perfect. And confirm the subscription. Now, whenever the instance CPU utilization is past the 40%, first, we are going to be notified with the email, and then second, the instance is going to be stopped. Okay, we are subscribed. Back to list. And let's go back to the dashboard. Okay. And another good thing is that here we can also add the alarm as a widget. So we can know the state of this alarm that we just created as a widget. Okay, add to dashboard, perfect. And it's okay. Now let's apply a bit more stress to the instance, right? So again, we're going to have the stress command, and let's have it set to 2 minutes. So what's going to happen after I press the enter here? It will start using all of the CPU resources. Whenever it passes the 40%, it will stop the instance and send me an email. Let's see. Okay. Let me also, okay. We can also set it to refresh all the variables every 10 seconds. There's like a bar here that shows us how much time is left. So, as we saw, we created the dashboard, and I'm going to continue the video after we hit the threshold. Okay, so as we saw, we have the error here. We have the, okay, we had the CPU utilization of above 40% here. And then we must have the EC2 also being terminated, which is here. Stopping, perfect. So the alarm also worked, and we should have received an email here, alarm. Let's see, what does it say? We're receiving this email because enter the alarm state. Okay, was greater than or equal to the threshold, which was 40%. Okay, at this time, and then there is the log for the event, which was the alarm. Perfect. So these are all the tools that we can use with the CloudWatch in order to have visualization for the metrics of our EC2 instance. We saw the dashboard, we learned how to create a dashboard, we saw how we can create alarms, and we can also see the state of the alarm in the dashboard here. And then we also saw different types of metrics that we can see for each EC2 instance. We said that they are categorized into network, CPU, and the storage. And then we also spoke about the time, the 5-minute window that by default every EC2 instance sends its metrics to the CloudWatch, but we can reduce it by enabling the advanced monitoring, and we can reduce it to actually 1 minute. Perfect. This would be it for this video. In the next video, we're going to use another tool which is not cloud native. So basically what all the tools that we just mentioned, they will all services by AWS. But then in the next video, we're going to use Grafana, which is a visualization tool. We're going to connect it with the CloudWatch metrics and be able to see all the metrics in our own device without having the need to connect to the AWS console. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much.